Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon from wherever you're joining us. It's a pleasure to be here, day 4 of the eAfrica Challenge. And I'm really excited because today we're going to be meeting some really amazing speakers, and then we're going to launch the jam. The hackathon starts today. And yeah, as you know, the eAfrica Challenge is all about getting creatives to get involved in solving social issues. And this year, we'll be looking at climate change. And since it's a jam about climate change, who better to speak to us than someone, an industry lead that has organized several game jams on climate change out there in the world globally. Please, guys, I'm pleased to introduce you to our first speaker for today, Tim Collins.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah. A quick intro about Tim. I don't know so much about him, so we'll be doing the proper introduction of himself. But then Tim is the co-founder of Games for Future. He's also at Seattle Indies, and he's one of the organizers of the Climate Jam, which was one of the first things I looked at, and I really got excited. And I was like, yeah, we can do this as well. Let's also get our own creatives on board. And I shared Climate Jam information to lots of creatives. And when we're looking at the eAfrica Challenge, we said, let's start out with climate because that's a big issue right now globally.
Absolutely.
So guys, Tim Collins. Tim, please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Tim Collins, and today I'm going to talk about building creative projects for climate change. I'll mainly be focusing on the hackathon jam that some of you are about to begin, and we'll be working on for the next 48 hours, since that is my background with both Global Game Jam, Climate Jam, Games for Our Future. I have a little presentation here. Hopefully you can see that.
Okay, it's showing already.
Cool.
Let me see. Let's awesome. So I'm going to leave the screen so that the presentation is more visible.
Got it. Thanks.
Wow. Awesome.
So yeah, a little bit about me. I have 11 years in the games industry. As Oscar mentioned, I'm the co-founder of Games for Our Future, along with some friends at the University of Washington here in Seattle, and the Pacific Science Center, which is a science museum also in Seattle, Washington. I am the board president of Seattle Indies, which is a nonprofit organization in the Seattle, Washington area that hosts events like game jams and other social events and provides networking for independent game developers and anybody who wishes to pursue games as a hobby or profession in the Seattle area. I'm currently the director of operations for Global Game Jam, which some of you may have participated in and or heard about in your part of the world. I'm a board member for the IGDA, as well as work with IGDA Seattle to help also make events for professional game devs in the area. And then I worked, prior to joining Global Game Jam, I worked at Oculus for 6 years, helping ship everything from the original Rift all the way up to the Quest 2 and more in between. And then prior to that, I made a few games at a small company called Airtight Games. We did a game called Quantum Conundrum, as well as Murdered Soul Suspect. So today we're going to talk about what led me to make Games for Our Future and how you can become someone who does it for yourself. The climate crisis evokes a lot of emotions in people, so let's talk about the emotions you get from the way that Hollywood and mainstream media and video games portray the crisis currently. So here you see some mainstream Hollywood films like 2012, The Day After Tomorrow, An Inconvenient Truth, which was a documentary. These are like mainly disaster films and documentaries where hopelessness and despair reign supreme. And the main emotion that tends to be evoked from these types of films is fear, basically. Fear of the unknown, fear of massive disasters impact changing our world forever. With the news media today, you see unparalleled fires, floods, winter storms, droughts. This is what the main coverage is of extreme weather brought on by climate change, and it's definitely something that people need to be informed about, as these things are likely to cause major changes in where and how we live in the coming decades, and are already causing changes for a lot of us today that we have to deal with on a daily basis. But again, people mainly are feeling fear from this type of thing, and rightfully so, I suppose. The climate crisis, as it's depicted in a lot of popular current video games like Mad Max, Horizon Zero Dawn, and a recent game called The Climate Trail, are mostly you see fear, survival, desolation, isolation, the unknown, return to primitive times, a lot of scary things for people to try and wrap their heads around, and the portrayal of our future that is not the greatest. After climate disasters cause an apocalypse, this is what people are seeing as something that could be a potential future for us here on Earth. But now we have people that are trying to change this conversation through games. The UN started playing for the planet, with major game companies like Rovio, who make Angry Birds, getting involved, and many other large game companies around the world have signed on to be involved in this, promoting. They're making games that promote climate change awareness, as well as the companies themselves pledging to be more environmentally friendly in how they do their work. We also have the IGDA Climate Special Interest Group, which is a recently formed group under the International Game Developers Association. And they're doing great work bringing the community of climate change concerned game developers together to raise awareness for the issue. And they're also working on building standards around representing climate change related issues in games. And then there's also the Indiecade Climate Jam, which we mentioned earlier, that I've helped organize the past two of those. And the goal of that is really to bring game developers and researchers together to come up with solutions for the current crisis, creative solutions using video games to show the research in a way that people can connect with, that is not as daunting as maybe reading a couple 100-page research paper. Instead, you can sit down and play a video game for 10 to 15 minutes and really learn something important based on research that the climate researchers have done, and they've been happy to share with us, and really have been a benefit to our community to learn from as well. Another way we're changing the conversation is with more hopeful and modern games like Eco and Beyond Blue that are changing the way we think about climate change and the implications and what we can and need to do as a society to both prepare for and prevent more damage as much as we can. And then we have streamers like my friend Megan, who goes by the handle Eco-Friendly-ish on Twitch, who are giving these games more exposure to a larger audience and bringing on renowned experts and scientists to their streams to talk about the real-world impact these games are having and what players can learn from them. But to me, the most important emotion that we need to convey as creators with our creative projects is hope. As our little minion friend is here saying, hope is the little voice you hear whisper maybe when it seems the entire world is shouting no. The world is filled with a lot of negativity, but people want to be inspired and feel hopeful, and that will lead to a better future for all of us, rather than fear and isolation and despair that we see so often in the disaster, apocalyptic type future that is portrayed in a lot of media and video games. So a little bit about Games for Our Future and where we came from. We started in 2017 by a group from Seattle Indies, University of Washington, and the Science Center, as I mentioned. We started as an idea for just a simple meet and greet between game developers and research scientists to see what they could learn from each other. But quickly we decided to pivot that idea into a full-on series of events that ended up with the Game Jam in 2018 and has now become something that the game developers in Seattle look forward to every year, as well as we've expanded out to larger groups through Indicate and doing the Jam online. In 2018, we had 55 people join us at the Science Center in Seattle, making games about surviving climate change. The following year, we had 75 join us again in the Science Center, and we did our theme then was creating a green tomorrow. And then the last 2 years, as I mentioned, we've been online due to the pandemic, and we're fortunate enough to team up with our friends at Indiecade to bring more people from around the world together to make games about climate change and bring scientists and researchers from around the world together with us to help make some amazing games. And we've had teams of people that have never met each other before who just met online and have a common cause and belief that this is an important issue and want to help make games about it to help raise awareness and show people what they can do and learn from video games in a way that maybe other media can't teach us. And then for next year, we're hopefully working on a hybrid version of in-person and online that will be running in the spring of next year for Climate Jam / Games for Our Future. So why video games for this topic? We believe this generation of creators cares deeply about the environment and has the power to inspire action through games. And games are interactive and a great teaching tool for people of all ages. They help build empathy and pathways to connect with other people and cultures you may normally not be exposed to. They break down language and generational barriers and give us a common ability to understand important concepts. And everyone plays and understands games these days, from young and old. So we should use them to help teach people important concepts in a way that's fun to learn and hopefully memorable for people and impactful. So let's talk about how to have a successful hackathon or jam. You have 48 hours to make something in your hackathon. And so here's some tips and tricks that I've learned throughout the years of hosting jams to make sure you have a very successful experience. Minimize your scope to something too simple. Think Flappy Bird here, not Final Fantasy. When you're building a jam game or a hackathon project, you have limited time to implement features. So keep it simple. Focus on the main thing you're trying to teach your players and polish that idea as much as you possibly can until it's fun and gets your point across. You're not going to make the next, massively multiplayer online World of Warcraft game in the next 48 hours, but hopefully you'll make something with a solid mechanic that's fun and playable, and people can hopefully learn a little something about climate change in the process and come away feeling inspired. Start locally. Climate change is a massive problem with global implications, but as individuals, it's really hard to think about and the impact on our own. So think about how climate change is impacting you and your community in the present day. From extreme weather to flood to food and water shortages, these are all things that people can relate to. So think about the things you can do or have had to do as a result of climate change, and try to focus your ideas on those things to have an impact on your audience. The idea of meeting people where they're at is important to me. So think about, to think about that while you're working on your project, since it will have more of a lasting effect on people and be easier for them to connect with. There's no wrong way to make a game jam game, so don't be afraid to make mistakes. Try new things, have fun, get uncomfortable, get outside of your comfort zone. Some of the best ideas came from game jam at game jams have come from things that seemed like a bug or a mistake at the time. Like Goat Simulator here was just full of bugs and was a quick game jam thing that turned into something wildly popular, and they just embraced the bugginess and the wackiness of it. So don't be afraid to try new things and make mistakes while you're building your project or making your game. Just have some fun with it, and don't take things too seriously. Just enjoy what you're working on is what I'm trying to say. Recycle, repurpose, and reuse. This is a hackathon about climate change and environmentalism. So use as much existing tech, code, assets, whatever you have in order to finish your project faster. Don't try to build things from scratch if you don't have to. You don't have time for that. Use things that you have already made or other people have made. Fail fast and iterate on your idea until it is good. Ask questions. Always ask questions when you're at a hackathon or a game jam. Use your online resources and your fellow jammers for help. You're all in this together, and this should be a great learning experience for everyone. So if you need help, just ask for it. Or if you have an answer, take some time and help out your fellow jammer. It's always great to take a little time out and help someone new and help them come and learn something, and maybe they'll want to come back, and the next game jam they'll be the ones teaching other people the things that they learned at a jam, and the community just grows that way. As the more you help, the more people will be willing to help, I have found. So that's always my motto at a game jam, is to just be kind to others and make everyone feel welcome no matter what their skill level is. This is a chance for everyone to improve and learn from each other. Communicate and work together. Make sure you are in a constant communication with your team and that everyone is working together towards the same goal. Time is short at a hackathon, and if one person falls out of touch with the group, the whole project can stall and fail. So having regular check-ins with each other and staying in contact throughout the hackathon will be the key to a successful experience. It is a great way to learn from each other and make lasting friendships too. Just like climate change, no one person is going to solve this problem on their own. So work with your team and you will have a great time. Get inspired. Movies and games are also a great way to inspire hope to overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles in life and in the world, and give people hope that if they see their heroes on screen do something, that they can do it too. If you need help with facts related to climate change related issues, there are lots of resources online, from Playing for the Planet, as I mentioned, Indicate's Climate Jam mentor videos, and so much more are made and aimed at game developers and hackathon participants like yourself. So the information is out there, and people have done a lot of work on games like these already. So you can use what you have at your fingertips there online to find some inspiration for your project. Have fun. That's the main points of a jam or a hackathon experience. Climate change is a serious topic with serious real-world implications, but hackathons are meant to be fun. Don't burn yourself out trying to make the best game ever, or make the best game or project you can over the next 48 hours and make something that you enjoy and want to engage with yourself. People want to learn about climate change and how it is going to impact their lives and what they can do to both cope with it and make things better for themselves and future generations. But if they get to have fun while they're doing it, they're likely to get more out of it. And that's the main thing we're trying to do here, is both have some fun while you're working on your projects and hope that the people that engage with your project at the end have fun themselves and change the world. I saw this quote on the website for eAfrica Challenge, and I really connected with that. The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. And you might not have superpowers like the Avengers, but your superpower is to make something fun and bring people together to learn important concepts about climate change and how it is impacting their lives. You know, we all need to be a part of this fight together, and together is the only way we will win. It's definitely a problem that is currently and will be impacting our entire world, and it's something that we all of us need to work on. And we're all very creative people here with creative ideas, and you never know which one of those might spark someone to come up with a real powerful solution to the issues that we're all facing together. And hopefully, you know, as you work on your project this weekend, you'll be thinking about that and thinking about how you can change the world with just your small little fun time that you're going to have this coming next 48 hours. So yeah, as you can see here, I have some contact information, and you can find me, I'm sure, on their website. On Twitter, I'm Tim Cullings. We also have a Games for Our Future Twitter, and there's a whole bunch of different email and websites and LinkedIn and all those ways to find me.
Thanks a lot for that, Tim. Thanks so much for that. That was a wonderful presentation. And yeah, I think we will look forward to organizing future challenges together much more closely. Let's co-create, let's share resources. When you have jams, when we have jams, we can work together. Seeing
Absolutely.
that you're really, really in the industry, various aspects of the industry, and I like what you're doing. You're really making so much of change. And thanks so much once more for coming. For the jam, the participants have been asked to go through a course on UN on UNCC Learn. That's a platform by United Nations, and they have a course on climate change. So we already have some participants completing the course. The idea was to get them to at least be better informed about what they are building. And we're not making it a competition. We want people to have fun, just as you have said. So we'd love to see at the end, we hope to have lots of games, because, you know, some people are busy, but they've registered and it's like an hobbyist kind of event for them. But we would also love to have you come on board and see if you could help us like grade some of these games, give feedback to the creators, because from experience, say our last Gamerton, we saw some people move further with their jam project, and that's really something exciting to see. So I hope you'll be able to spare time to do that for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be thrilled to. And that's great that the UN has that program now. I mean, when we started Games for Our Future, there wasn't anything like that. So we had to reach out to researchers in our area and have them come do short presentations about their work and speak with our developers directly. But, you know, that's hard to do, and not everybody has that kind of that level of access to researchers in their area. So having an online resource that the UN has created is excellent. I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah. Okay then. So thanks so much. It was a pleasure having you. Thanks. We're going to reach out to you with the games, with everything created. We're going to share them to you. So there will be like a post-event activity. And yeah, do have a lovely afternoon. Thanks so much for coming, Tim.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah. Bye. Okay, guys. Yep. We try to keep the sessions as short as possible, because we know there isn't much time for a lot of people. And this event, we don't want to take so much time. We want you to build. We want you to catch fun. We want you to get involved in solving the SDGs. And we want to keep it as simple as possible. So we're having these sessions because it's very important for you to be informed, to get adequate information, resources before you get into the jam. As Tim said, climate is a serious issue. So we don't want you going around spreading misinformation or something like that. That's why we have this course for you to go through. And yeah, we'll go on a short break, a very short one. I can see our next speaker is in. Really excited. So we're going to go on a very short break, and then we would be having our next speaker, which I will introduce when we come back. Yes, guys, I am back. Really short, eh? So, yeah, drum roll for our next speaker. Her name is Katerina Stenson. I met her, I believe, early this year, at an education program organized by Ambitious Africa Education. And it was a program about learning, alternative learning methods. And that's where I came to discover this amazing company out there in East Africa, changing the whole of Africa with what we call fun learning, teaching children, youths, adults how to get educated through fun activities, through play. As we know, lots of people earlier in the games industry, or in Africa rather, feel like playing is something unserious. But then we have been arguing that no, through games, through fun activities, you can actually achieve more than being serious. Life is a game, some of us say. And then finding a company that focuses on using fun activities, on using play to teach children, and they've been able to make so much impact, change the way people learn. I was like, no, I have to reach out to her. She has to come on board and share with us some of these secrets so that you all, as you're building your games, you can also put these methodologies, implement them to get better output. So yes, guys, I welcome into the call Katerina Stenson of Chicheza.
Unmute. Oh,
Yes.
hi. Thank you so much.
Hello. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Yes. Is it afternoon there? What time is it from where you are?
Oh, it's 2:30 over here. I was a bit
2:30.
confused about the time. I almost I was here waiting like an hour ago because we changed to summertime in April, and then move out of phase with the time in Africa. So
okay, sorry about that, but it's good to have you here. Really excited to have you here. So yeah, I can be here, but then let's give you the floor. Please, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Katerina, and who am I, and why am I doing learning through play or game-based learning? My background is as an engineer who then turned into a teacher. I decided to change paths because I think education is really important. And I am CEO and co-founder of Chicheza, which is an early stage startup. And I'm really happy that you said, Michael, that we were already making an impact. We're still small, so I'm going to be humble and say I don't think we made that much impact yet, but we have really big visions for what we want to do. And I really think there is potential, like you said, in learning through play and learning through games, especially these early skills, early reading and mathematics skills. There's a lot of potential there. And we started discussing a few years ago, me and some other people, why are there so many kids still in the world, in Africa and in some other parts of Asia and Latin America as well, who are not finishing school and not learning these skills, and what can we do with our technology background? So that's how it started. Yeah. What we found, because we started to, as engineers, we kind of have this also research mindset. So we started digging into what can you do with technology, and why aren't there already technology solutions out there that can help children learn these basic skills? And that's when we kind of found that the main problem actually is accessibility, that there are a lot of great learning games out there in the world, but if we talk about Africa, I know Africa is it's a continent, it's not a country, but there are some similarities around different parts of Africa where there were like hurdles to access these games that are out there. And some of them are technical hurdles, like that you don't even have a phone or don't have a smartphone. But sometimes it's things that you can actually overcome, like that maybe data is quite expensive, so you don't want the games to be too heavy, or you don't want streaming of videos and things like this because it's costly. And there are also other parts of or aspects of accessibility related to like cultural relevance and like what words and objects you use in the games. We realize that things like a taxi doesn't look the same in Uganda as it does in Great Britain, for example. So if you have like trying to learn to read and you have a picture of a taxi and learn the word taxi, then it doesn't make sense for someone in Uganda than, for example, if it's a British black taxi car, because it's not what they are used to. So there are these cultural hurdles, and also when you talk about learning, you also have to look at the curriculums in different countries. Like what are they supposed to learn? Because it's always, even if you play these games at home on your parents' smartphone, for example, it's still good if it can connect to what you're learning in school and kind of boost your learning in school rather than teaching something different.
Okay. That's really, really amazing. That's really amazing to hear. So let's look at Chicheza. Let me see. I think I can go to the website. So how do you basically my question is, how do you encourage this learning, if I might put it that way? Say, for example, is it through a mobile app? Do you have like fun activities? Yeah, because I don't know if you can see the screen. Can you see it?
I can see it, yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful website, by the way. I love it.
Thank you. It's our wonderful designer, Bridget, who made it. So first, I also want to say, because I think that's interesting for the people who are here, that we are actually, our platform is open source. So we kind of want to build a community around it of people who want to help building up this platform of games, learning games for kids, because that is what we are, basically a platform for learning games. And we do, like, technology-wise, we build it as a web app. So it's JavaScript and HTML, and then we use Ionic Capacitor to port it to Android, iOS, and desktop. So it actually can work both on web, on Android, on iOS, and on desktop. But at the moment, we only have it for Android. So there's a beta accessible in the Google Play Store. So
that's really cool. So any game developer right now can create a game and put it on Chicheza, right?
Yes. Although we still so you can actually go into our GitHub, and I can share the link later if there are any developers here who are interested. But it's not super, some most open source projects are well structured, and you can go in there and see what you can do and how you can help. But we haven't really gotten to the point that we have super good documentation and stuff. But what we do want is to kind of invite anyone who's interested to, or we have a community Slack. So you can just jump in there and talk to us, and we can find we can help you out if you don't find your way around the GitHub, or we can suggest things that you can help with, and so on.
That's awesome. So I think what would be best is for the developers to reach out, but it's really amazing that you're giving everyone the opportunity to contribute to the education of children. So meaning using the normal web languages, the common one, basically HTML, JavaScript, anyone can go to Chicheza and build something really fun and add it there to the website. That's really amazing. That's really, really amazing.
And even if you're not a developer, if you're some other creator, if you're an illustrator, or if you're a sound engineer, or if you I don't know, like like writing and write children's books, or
Yeah.
if you just know about like local songs or rhymes or things like that from
Yeah.
some part of your country, then you can always come and share that. We also have storybooks on the platform, so if you write children's books, for example, you can add that too.
It's like a full package for learning, and it's open source.
And it's open source, and it's
That's awesome.
that's what we want. We want really to be the full package, because when you learn reading or learn mathematics or learn something else, there's a lot of small steps. There's a lot of small things you need to learn. So we that's kind of I was actually prepared to talk a little bit more about like game-based learning and what that is. And then that basically means that you have to choose like one specific learning goal that you want a game to teach or to practice. So a very specific learning goal, and then you kind of design this game task or challenge around that learning goal. And at the moment we only have a few games on the platform, but we really wanted to kind of cover all of these different steps, all of these different learning goals that you need to get to the point where you can actually read. Because it's like, first you need to, when you're in like preschool, you practice just words, like you learn a lot of different words and vocabulary, like that's the first step. And then you need to understand that a word is built up of sounds, like that's not like that you can actually divide it into the different sound bites, and then you have to be able to match a letter to a sound, or a sound to a combination of letters sometimes, and so it's all these different steps. So that's why we focused a lot on kind of building a platform that is scalable, where we can add a lot of pieces as we go. So actually every game is independent, and when you download the app, it doesn't come with all the games, but you can like download them as you go, as you progress, or you can also delete them afterwards to save space on the phone. So
that's nice. That's really, really cool. So right now, one thing I also need to point out is Africa Communicate is not just about game developers. It's also it's basically about the African digital creative industry. So animators, illustrators, and the likes. And I know we are right now really focused on game development, because we see the game development industry as the one that connects to all. Animators work in the game development industry, content creators, everyone basically comes back to this industry if it can grow. And this challenge is open to all. So from digital artists to animators to game developers. So right now they would be building on climate change, because this challenge is focused on impact. How do we drive change about social issues? So I just want to confirm that this kind of project, we hope to get some games. If we get really good games, which I know we would, can they also be put on this platform?
If they are built on web technology, yes.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so that's really cool.
Yeah, we are focusing on like reading and mathematics, but we do have other games as well. We have like brain training games, like memory games and things like that. And we are open to other types of games as well. But we do kind of want it to be for the younger kids. So if it's a lot of text, then it's not suitable. But otherwise,
that's awesome. That's really awesome. And I guess all creatives out there listening can actually find this opportunity also interesting, because right now you have the opportunity to create something. Yes, there are platforms where you can put your games, but then if you're creating something much more structured for education, you can actually go to Checheza, which now, as you can see, is a platform where if you want for early education of children, if you want to educate them, if you want to get access to them, this is a platform you can actually just go to and get lots of content, basically games, animations, storybooks, and I find this really awesome. So now you're an expert also in education, so let's talk a little bit about that. what are the key elements, the key things? I know you've mentioned some things like you spoke about text. It shouldn't be text heavy. That's like one of the key things you made mention of. But what more can you tell us about creating games that are fun and engaging? Because these creatives right now will be going will be going to make some amazing stuff. And I can imagine some people want to go real football crazy and do something really, really wonderful. So that's why we're also reaching out to you. You have a platform that some of these games or creative projects, whether it's animation or so, can be put on. So right now, we'd love you to guide the creative process. When building for children, when building for engagement, what are the key things you want creatives to be aware of?
I think the key part is like there are a lot that it's a whole science, so I'm
Yeah.
not going to be able to share everything. But like one of the most important things is that it's on the right level, like not too difficult and not too easy. And that is a challenge because different kids are different. So what's
Yeah.
good for one is not the good for another one. So you
Yeah.
kind of need to think about that when you design the game. That what happens if the child can't complete this task? What happens then? Can they get a hint or an easier version of the task or something, so that they can actually progress and don't feel like they're just that they can't do it, because then they're going to lose interest. So
Yeah.
that is really important. In the same way, if there's a child who actually completes several tasks in a row, then maybe it's too easy, and then
Yeah.
what can you do to kind of adjust the level? So that's an important thing. And usually they say that you should be able to complete the task approximately
Yeah.
70% of the time, because then it's the right level. Then you kind of
Okay.
you fail sometimes, but then you maybe can make it in the second try, and if you get some hint or
Yeah.
So
That's really cool. And you made mention of something. I would just love you to throw some light before I leave the ground open for you to now tell us more if there's anything you want to share. You made mention of game-based learning. I remember you also made mention of that during the session during the Ambitious Africa event, and I would like you to throw some more light on that. We're talking about, I think, pedagogies or so. I can't really remember. Learning methods, basically, active learning. And you made mention of game-based learning. So what is that? Can you just shed some more light?
Yeah. I mean, most people heard about gamification, and actually gamification and game-based learning are two different things. It's not the same, although one might think it is. It's because if you do gamification, you can do gamification of any learning content, basically. It basically means that you add rewards, or you add levels, or you add that you can follow your progress or something. Like a lot of these language learning app like Duolingo or so on, they have you can see when you're completing a task, the kind of pie fills up. You move to the next level and you get all these sounds saying, hey, you made it, and then you maybe get coins or something collected in a that is gamification. It's basically, but you can add it to an ordinary it doesn't even have to be digital. Like if your teacher gives you a gold star in your book, because for a text you wrote, that's gamification, actually, in a simple form. It's also a reward to kind of motivate you. So while game-based learning, it's actually something else. It's like I started talking about it earlier. Like you really need to design the game around a learning goal. So the learning goal should be central. So you need to first start by deciding, what do we really want these people to learn, and kind of be quite specific, and then find a way that you can design the game functionality around it, so that you actually practice that doing that what you're supposed to learn, quite hands-on.
Yeah.
It's like learning by doing, or learning to do rather than just knowing because you read something. You know, it's a different.
Okay.
You can learn by heart that 1 + 2 is 3, but you don't really understand it, or you can't really do the math if you can't say that. Well, I have 1 brother and 2 sisters. That means I have 3 siblings. So you have to be able to actually use it in real life, and that's kind of what you're trying to do in game-based learning. I would say, like, you're trying to use it and do it and use your senses, visualizations and sounds and maybe you have to touch or do something so that it actually kind of sticks, and you design that around this learning goal.
Wow, that's really, really cool. That's really cool. I'm excited. I also look forward to seeing what they will build. We'll be sharing all the projects with you. We're not trying to make it a competition, because we want people to actually have fun. We want them to build something they'll love. And then when we see what they've built, we are also going to put in efforts to see how we can promote this work, see if they can take it further, basically. That's the aim of this competition. So we'll be sharing all the works we get with you to see what we can do with them. I would also love you to give feedbacks to some of these creatives, because I'm sure they would need them. And yeah, I don't want to take much time. Are there any other things you would love to share with us? Anything you'd love to say?
No, I don't. I was thinking about one thing when it comes to games, is that usually, like, I've been talking about learning games. Usually, you learn a lot of things in like, you can learn things in normal games as well. Like, you know, a lot of people do like first-person shooter games, and you don't think about it. That's not a learning game because it's not designed around a learning goal. But you actually do learn something, in that usually people who play that a lot, they get better at like driving in traffic, because they get used to having a lot of things happening around them and like keeping an eye on everything, you know. So you can it's like just a concrete example of how you can just by playing and doing, you can actually learn something that you're not really thinking about that you're learning. So there's a lot you can do with games.
So thank you so much, Katarina. Thank you so much for coming online. We're really grateful. So guys, there you have it. Yep, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say we just started magazine on Medium, the platform Medium. You can we started a magazine there, which where we share articles around learning and game-based learning and digital learning technology and so on. So if you're interested, you can check it out, and I think you'll find it if you just Google Medium CICESA. So.
Yeah, I'm doing that right away. I would also be sharing I found it, CICESA EdTech for Change. So I'll be sharing that in the comment section, as well as the link to CICESA, guys. So please go through the link, go to the website, learn more about CICESA, and you can go through the Medium link as well to learn more about creating activities. Let me use that. Let me not say games. Activities, fun activities for children, for learning. I think that would be a helpful resource. I'm sure a lot of you have already gone through the UN course on climate change. So this will now help you to bring that knowledge to see what you can do for people to learn and have fun while learning. And yeah, links shared. We do hope to see, we're looking forward to seeing what you can create. Don't forget, CICESA is an open source platform as well, where you can actually create stuff, create lots of activities. Right now, focusing on math and other things for early childhood learning, but then you can create more. Even most of these projects, if you're able to build it properly and are willing to push it to make it much more structured, because you know there will need to be some censoring of the content, there need to be some more added structure, I believe, so that it's correct. Feel free to reach out to CICESA, and let's see how together we can change the world in our own little way. Yeah. Thanks, Katarina. Do enjoy your afternoon. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. And yes, guys, that was Katerina Stenson from CHECHEZA. I believe you learned a thing or two about gamification, about game-based learning, about creating content for learning in a fun way. And I'm really excited about the work CHECHEZA is doing. I personally don't like stressful work, let me put it that way. I actually enjoy just catching fun while learning. That's the best way I work. And that's why I love what I do currently. I feel like work should be really, really synchronized with play, because then you can put in much more and can get better output. So if you have a game, if you have an idea, an animation, a storybook, any digital content for learning, and you would love to see how to get it out there to lots of children, please do reach out to CHECHEZA. I've shared the links for the Medium page where you can learn about creating content for learning, and I've shared the link to CHECHEZA as well, where you can see what this organization is doing to change the way education is being carried out in Africa and the world at large. And yeah, I guess right now we're at that point where we can now launch the JAM officially. If you have not completed the climate change course, please don't rush. We are in the creative industry, and don't feel rushed, don't feel pushed. It's for your own good. We want you to go through the course. So if you are not done, take your time, go through it. It's a challenge. We're challenging you to use this week to learn and build something. So go through the challenge willingly, please. Make sure you complete the course, because there's so much to learn. I got a feedback today about what the course is all about, and I'm really excited. I'm also almost done with the course. So please go through it and see how you can build something, no matter how little, see how you can do something for climate change this week. And we're launching the JAM right now. I'm going to reveal, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, oh, the name is going to be Hack Climate Change. Yeah, I played around it a little. So we're going to launch that right now, and we look forward to seeing what you will do. Please, if you are not on the Discord server or channel already, please make sure you join in there, because from now on, a lot of the conversation would be happening there, so that we can, if you want to team up, if you want to build a team, if you need access to resources, if you need any kind of help, we can see how we can work together. And yeah, it's not over. Tomorrow we have a little session with Open Back and Quack Games. Yeah, if I'm not wrong. That's going to be a fun session for everybody that is participating in the JAM. So please, 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 put in your best, and let's see what we can do this week. And now, to launch the challenge.
Game gives us time with the players around building empathy with the animals, empathy with the habitats, empathy with the people that are trying to protect this stuff.
So the gaming industry has unprecedented reach and influence across the world. So whether you're in Indonesia or India, everybody's playing games. What we're saying at UN Environment is to include green nudges in every game, or to try and get more money that can go to causes that can make a difference, or to subsidize games that have meaning so they can be produced and taken into the world to make it the place that we all need it to be.
If we can get the stuff that we're making into the hands of players and the people that we actually need to reach with this message, then that is where the help will come in most useful.
We want to work with the gaming industry to see how they can make a greater difference to the world. So whether it's for climate change, for nature, or sustainable choices, they can do huge things to see how we can get everybody to play for the planet.
Noted. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure a majority of you must be wondering right now, what is the theme? Yeah, in case you did not get it, the theme of this year's eAfrica Challenge on climate change is Protect the Planet. Yeah, so it would have been very easy if, yeah, we're acting climate change and then the theme is climate change. So what we did here is we played around a little. We are trying to act for climate change, push climate actions, make people work, create creative projects that can actually educate people, inspire action. And so we came up with the name, Protect the Planet. That is the theme. And you should structure this game in relation to climate change. Okay, so we want you to go out there and go into your mind, straight into your mind, and looking at the climate change issues around us, based on the knowledge you've gathered from the speakers, from the online course, how can we as humans, as creatives, as individuals, as organizations, protect the planet? We're looking out for games, we're looking out for animation, we're looking out for even digital graphics, even if it's just an artwork. How can we do that? Let's see what we can do to protect the planet. And please go to our Discord server. Let's start the discussions there. I personally, and I believe the whole world watching, looks forward to seeing what we will do. It's never too late to get on board the challenge, as long as you are getting on board this week. So if you've not gone through the course, still go through it. No rush, no worries. And let's see how we can work together. You can work as a team, you can work solo, but why not connect with people during this period and see what you can do together? That's the whole idea. Collaboration, communication, creativity, sharing of opportunities and knowledge. Let's work together, please. You can't do it alone. And yeah, I guess we continue the conversation in the Discord server for today. Once more, protect the planet.
A game gives us time with the players around building empathy with the animals, empathy with the habitats, empathy with the people that are trying to protect this stuff.
So the gaming industry has unprecedented reach and influence across the world. So whether you're in Indonesia or India, everybody's playing games. What we're saying at UN Environment is to include green nudges in every game, or to get more money that can go to causes that can make a difference, or to subsidize games that have meaning so they can be produced and taken into the world to make it the place that we want it to be.
If we can get stuff that we're making into the hands of players and the people that we actually need to reach with this messaging, then that is where the help will come in most useful.
We want to work with the gaming industry to see how they can make a greater difference to the world. So whether it's for climate change, for nature, more sustainable choices, they can do huge things to see how we can get everybody to play for the planet.